Welcome to Mythical Phylogeny Adventures. I'm your guide, Jason. Well, it is St. Patrick's Day, and I have realized that I have never touched on one of the most popular mythical creatures in Irish mythology, the leprechaun. So why don't we look at the truth of these so-called little folk? The word leprechaun comes from the Old English word lutrapan, lutrapane, and lupercan, and this comes from Latin lugacorp, for small body. And that is a fair description of our fellow. The leprechaun is described as a small humanoid, though there is an alternative. It may be derived from the leith bregan, meaning half shoe. This one is tied more with the story about them making shoes. Now, despite their popularity, they aren't all that common in Celtic legends. The earliest writings are from the Echta Fergus mac Leti, the adventures of Fergus, son of Leti, from the 8th century. Well, what does the text say? It talks about the king of Ulster, Fergus mac Leti, falling asleep while resting on the beach. But he feels something pulling him into the water, and he awakens to find 3 small figures dragging him away. He quickly overpowers and captures them. They begin to bargain, and they each offer the king a single wish, so 3 in total, and he lets them go. That isn't a lot to go with from the historic texts, but more modern folklore has given us more to work with. The leprechaun is believed to be part of the Ashishi. This is a group of mythical creatures that are more akin to elves. They are the descendants of the Tuatha De Danann. These elves lived in fairy mounds called shees. Now these elves could be either good or malicious and would play pranks, even go so far as to steal children. They include things like changelings and others. Yet the leprechaun is often said to live separate from these other elves, but still lives in their own mounds, or sometimes in modified trees. Though some accounts say that they live in troops of their own kind, and tend to limit their antics to being a nuisance rather than a threat. Now when you hear leprechaun, you are thinking of a small figure dressing in green that has a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. However, that is a more modern appearance. They have changed a fair bit over the centuries, and even with different regions of Ireland. In the 1800s, they were more often seen wearing red, though still finely dressed and having gold and silver buttons and chains on their clothes. Yet their attire can vary wildly, everything from suits, military attire, and beyond. So they have a fashion sense and individual tastes, I would say. I have found some range on their heights, the shortest being able to sit on a mushroom, and the tallest being 3 feet or 1 meter tall. Many tales talk about them working as shoemakers. So our ultimate question is, what are they? Well, I wouldn't exactly call them a species of fairy, and elf does seem to make sense. You could compare them to beings like house goblins and brownies. The words used for elf, fairy, and goblin are mostly interchangeable. Yet, there is something similar in Cherokee mythology called the Nui. They are also a small humanoid-like creature. Funny how far-flung cultures create similar myths. Now, there are a few potential weaknesses of the leprechaun, and that is iron. To be particular, cold or wrought iron is often used as a defense against magical creatures. This is believed to drain the powers of magical creatures of Celtic origins. And this brings up something interesting. They are known for making shoes, and those do require tools, but it is unlikely that their tools are made of iron. Yet we do have a clue. They are often seen with gold and silver buckles and buttons. Could you make tools with those? Yes, those are softer metals, but they aren't forging swords. No, they are working with leather and wood, something which a silver or gold blade could achieve. They will likely dull faster, but could work. If not, copper or bronze tools would work. This could mean that the pot of gold is actually a pot made from gold. They have a host of the usual magical powers, but are most common in appearing and disappearing at a moment's notice. If you take your eye off them, they can vanish. The leprechaun isn't an evil creature. While they will play pranks, they are actually known to choose their targets based on their personality. They don't choose the innocent, but people who harass and attempt to capture them. So, how do we deal with the little folk? Now, there is a caveat which we will want to address. This is one which you don't want to kill. No. You want to keep it alive so that you can get its pot of gold. That means that we can't kill it. Okay, we are dealing with a small foe, which is known for their intelligence, tricks, and speed. You will need the same to pull this off. Stop and think, then think again, because you're probably not thinking this all the way through. If you want to catch yourself a leprechaun, you first need to find it. They live in their mounds and trees. Their openings will be disguised as rabbit holes. But whatever you do, do not just go poking around inside them. If you do that, the leprechaun will know that you are there. And once they know that you are after them, they can come after you. No, you need to be sure that you are the first to strike. You need to watch the hole for the leprechaun, without it finding out about you. This won't be easy. Now, you will want to make a trap out of wrought iron. Due to the wide variations on their sizes, you may have some issues with designing it. You could lace the ground with iron particles to slowly sap its power, but this may tip it off. Your choice. However, if you mess up and alert it to your hunt, things aren't going to be easy. It'll play pranks on you, untie your shoes and trip you, put salt in your sugar, mess with your lights. While usually not dangerous, they will be annoying. You'll need to lay a trap, a smart one. Get the leprechaun to jump and fall into it. You will need to pay attention and focus. Once you get it in your sights, you cannot avert your gaze. Even if it looks away as if someone is there to help it, look straight at it. Don't lunge after it though. That will leave you open and let it escape. No, don't get hasty. Have an iron net ready. They rarely go so far as to use force and cause serious injuries. So I don't think you will need armor, but be careful. They can and will create issues. Bruises and cuts aren't out of the question. If they get really aggressive, armor might help though. I doubt they would ever let the fight turn into a battle of strength. While you may be bigger, they are either an elf or a fairy usually, and that may bestow improved strength. So I wouldn't put it past them to have a trick that throws even that off. Once you get hold of a leprechaun, it will talk and attempt to trick you. Don't fall for its tricks. But then, how do you get it to take you to its pot of gold, or grant the wishes? Well, that is going to be the tricky part. You can't really threaten it, since if it perishes, so does the information that it holds. So you will need to rely on your investigative work to uncover the truth in what it says. Good luck with that. This very well might be the toughest part. Now, what if you can use magic? And this is going to make the fight much easier. No questions. The first and most important spells are counter spells to remove its illusions and invisibility. It is so much easier to fight a foe when you can see. After that, a time stop spell will make it so much easier to snag our foe. If not, a telekinesis one will work just as well. Just pull it towards you. Another good option is ice magic to encase it. There is a fun one though, and that is iron transmutation spells. What happens if you start turning things to wrought iron to inhibit it? This could be fun in the fight. I guess this would be the leprechaun's version of the floor is lava. This won't be easy. There is a reason that catching a leprechaun is considered a feat and why I'm giving them an odd score of 5 of 10. I don't think that there is a high chance of you being injured or slain. But despite that, this is a fast and clever foe. One where intelligence is going to be the thing you need the most. Think ahead, and there is a chance that you might pull this off. You already know what you gain when you capture this foe. You will either gain its pot of gold or bargain for 3 wishes. Which is more valuable? Well, gold is worth money. That isn't something that anyone can argue. As to how big the pot is, I don't know. This is the pot of a creature ranging from inches to a couple of feet tall. If it is the smaller one, then it is a tiny pot. So let's hope it is the bigger one. Still, even a gold ring is worth a bit, so a tiny pot will be 2. But the wishes, that can be something much bigger. Of course, it will depend on what sort of things the leprechaun can really do. If all they can do is help you out of a bad situation, or 3, that might be valuable. Of course, we have questions besides the limits of the spells. What's the chance that if you make a wish, that it is turned against you? We have countless tales of jinn, devil, and other mythical creatures granting wishes that end up hurting you. Yep, with the trickster leprechaun, that could happen too. Be careful what you wish for. The Leprechaun is a classic. Trickery and ambition tied together as the ultimate challenge. Do you think you could catch it? Thank you for watching, adventurers. Please return next time. Until then, I'll see you on the road.